What does the fruitful Christian life look like?
That's a great question. So not what we would define as success.
What are you paying the cost of? Maybe $100,000 a year salary. That might actually be where the rubber hits the road between the difference between faithfulness and not getting that car this life.
I've seen that in the business world too. It costs us financially to be faithful to the vision that God has called us to the business.
How do we know what we're called to?
But I think submission's the key in that too. It's not also taking it to God and going, bless this. Would you actually be willing to lay it down if he said, don't do it?
Because that's faithfulness, right? Like it's every little yes we say to Jesus along the way.
What is success in the kingdom of God? Is it what the world portrays as success, or is there a different metric? In this conversation with Mel and Nate, we delve into what fruitfulness in the kingdom looks like in our everyday life, and we hope you enjoy this conversation. Welcome back to the podcast, Mel.
Great.
Good to have you here
Got
again.
back again.
Yeah, it's got to welcome back. Got to invite back.
Yeah, there you go. You're on the schedule now.
Feeling validated.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, it's a good thing we're talking about success this episode, right? Like, is that success?
Going to use that
now?
as an example later
What are
on.
your success measures?
Am I relying external or internal?
Yeah. Well, without further ado, we may as well get into what this podcast episode is about. I guess to kick it off, we've been in a little series about discipleship, the cost of discipleship, following Jesus. I think one of the costs is, I guess, there's a lot of these, but like there's a redefinition of a lot of things in our life that comes as a part of discipleship. Jesus asks us to redefine certain things in our life, how we see things, how we pursue things.
Yep.
And so the question I have for our discussion today is, how do we navigate the tension between success as defined by culture, and fruitfulness as defined by Jesus and the kingdom? How do we navigate the tension between success as defined by culture and fruitfulness as defined by the kingdom?
Well, I think it would help if we articulate a base definition that is definitely not all-encompassing, but I tend to, when I think about what is success in the world, I tend to think of Daft Punk and their song Bigger, Better, Faster, Stronger.
Oh yeah, good song.
Yeah, it was a great song, wasn't it?
I'm a big Daft Punk fan.
Anyway, that's what
Let's
I think
get back
about
on track.
when I think about worldly success. I'm like, the world says get more,
Yeah,
get it bigger, get it faster, get it better.
sounds good though.
It does sound good. Yeah. Get more of it. And I think what we see in the kingdom is that Jesus actually says or would articulate that success is to be faithful to God. And I think where we can get a bit unstuck is that for some people, that faithfulness does look like something very similar to worldly success. But for others, it doesn't. But it's still success in the kingdom because they've been faithful. Someone's faithfulness, like a Mother Teresa, for instance, to use an example, her faithfulness didn't look like worldly success.
Yeah.
But she was successful in the kingdom because she was faithful to what she was called to do, the way she was called to do it.
Yep.
I didn't make her millions of followers on Instagram or millions of dollars or any of those things. For other people, being faithful to what God has called them to do does.
Yep.
And so I think we have to be careful when we're trying to look at the difference. We don't go too far and say that because worldly success looks like riches, fame, bigger, better, faster, stronger, therefore kingdom success is none of those. No, kingdom success is faithfulness to who God's called you to be, what God's called you to do in the time that God has called you to do it.
How would you say, Mel, how do we know what God, you know what I mean? Like, how do we know what God's called us? Like, if we're to be faithful to what God's called us to do, how would you describe to someone that, like, well, how do I know? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they might go,
if we've all got something different, how do I know if I'm called to that or
like,
called
I
to
feel
Mother
like
Teresa?
I'm called to make lots of
I would
money,
love to.
and you know what I mean. But
I'm definitely called to business.
how do we know? How do we know what we're called to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I was thinking, I was been reading through Matthew with my son, and I was really struck the other night because we were reading the Sermon on the Mount.
Yeah.
And I knew that this was coming up, talking about success, and I'm like, man, no wonder Jesus' teachings were hard. Like, he's talking about who are blessed, and it's so not what we would define as success in the world, to be blessed if you're mourned and blessed, if you're meek and blessed.
Poor in spirit.
Poor in spirit. Like, it was that's totally opposite. But it just got me thinking about Jesus, because one difference I see between success in world, success in kingdom, is it's that internal, external thing.
Yeah.
It's often what I can get externally as the sign of my success, whereas Jesus talks a lot about actually it's your internal character that matters. God looks at the heart.
Yeah.
Internal is success.
Lose my soul.
And then, so in answer to your question, I'm like, I feel like God leads you into your calling. I honestly believe that. If you go on a relationship with Jesus, he is going to lead you into that.
Yeah.
And as you grow in that, you're going to find, it's just going to work.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to figure it out. I lost many years of my life, and I've ended up in a place that I never worked out for myself. I just think you go in that relationship with Jesus and he will lead you into where you are, but you're also going to have the character to sustain it there.
Throughout Scripture, there are external measures of God's blessing and rewards that come, but when we start to look at the New Testament, a lot of Paul's writings are it's internal. It's an internal shift and change. That is the measure of success in the kingdom, like the fruitfulness of our life
comes out of that.
Fruitfulness comes out of that. That's right.
Will come out of that. In whatever arena that looks like.
What does the fruitful Christian life look like, Mel? Like, what does, for a believer, we're not going to. It's not going to be comprehensive. I'm sure there's lots of things we can talk about. But
there would be lots of evidences of fruitfulness. Like I'd say one fruitfulness of a believer is somebody who, we're talking about Jesus, how he's so relatable and connectable people. He just, people flocked to him. Yeah. I think one of the best evidences is you're a person that people like to hang around. They're attracted to you.
Oh, I've got a long way to go.
Because you're kind and you genuinely care about them and you do love them like God loves them. Like, so I think just being a person that people want to be around because you've got kingdom fruit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's a great.
What are some other examples of kingdom fruit in the life of a believer?
Oh, I mean, the obvious thing that comes to mind is like the fruit of the Spirit.
Yep.
So obviously, as a believer, we have the Spirit living in us. So what he produces in us, the fruit that comes out of us, is what happens over the process of internal transformation, right? We start to demonstrate goodness, gentleness, self-control, like the fruits of the Spirit should be an element of fruitfulness of a believer's life. Sanctification, becoming more like Christ in our thinking, in our behavior, in our motives.
Yep.
These things should be the fruit of a believer. Then there is the activity that comes out of those. And I think where we've maybe gone awry in the past is we've elevated the activity as the measure of fruitfulness over and above the inner transformation, the work of sanctification. And so we have unsanctified people that have worked out how to demonstrate high levels of activity.
What is this? What's an example? What does this look like?
You walk me into a minefield here, Simo.
What about generosity?
Pastor Mel, what's an example?
I was just thinking you could have two people who say give a lot, but one actually is operating out of a place of generosity, like genuine generosity. I think one of the great marks of fruitfulness in the kingdom is generosity, not just in finance, like people who are actually generous in their time.
Open-handed.
They don't hold on to stuff versus you can have someone who is trying, like, we'll give because that looks good. Yeah. That's like, that's what a good Christian would do. They would give, and there's like an accolade that comes from my capacity to give, but it's totally giving out of the wrong internal motivation.
Yes.
I think that's a different. I think one is fruitful in the kingdom. I don't think the other one. Well, that
I think
still
any behavior,
used,
behavior that is rooted in should, is at risk of becoming an activity that looks like it should be fruitful, but it's not. So now I will then follow that up by saying you should be in church because it's really good for your relationship with Jesus.
It's really
but
good
if
for your
over time the only reason you're in church is because you should, that's not great fruit.
Yep.
You know,
I guess it's kind of like serving in church too, right? Like
totally.
Yep.
You can come at serving in church with a heart of, I should, or I've got to do this for God to like me, or I've got to do, you know what I mean? Or to impress my leaders or something.
Yeah.
I have to be rather than like a genuine.
Because I want to be in the inner circle.
Because I want to be in the
status.
I want to be known.
World.
I want to get status. I want to climb some kind of ladder.
I want to hang out with Pastor Nate.
Please don't.
Like I guess when it comes to that, there's the cost is crucifying that attitude to replace. So the end outcome or the external part might look exactly the same, but the internal state's totally different.
I think as a pastor, it's obviously a unique context to live life in. But I do think that people who like believers whose main context is, say, business or what have you, it is really difficult, and I think they are often confronted with a real cost because so much about a business has this, and we've talked a lot about this profitability. There is a drive for a business to create money and those sorts of things, right? But it becomes very easy for the demands of the success of the business to encroach on what is faithful in the kingdom. And similarly, in a lot of other contexts where now you're working Sundays to make more money in the business rather than being faithful to what God's called you to do, or in whatever. You could do
your family life's suffering because you're so hell bent on wanting to make more money.
The bigger house, right? So you take the job that requires you to have extra hours in the office, or you move to take a better paying job because you want the lifestyle that the world defines as success.
Yeah.
And so you take yourself out of community, which is helping. Think of a fireplace and the coals that are near the fire, the hot community. You're a coal, and you take yourself out of that place for the pursuit of something that God's not called you to pursue. You're pursuing it for the elements of worldly success. And so now you get a wage that's $200,000 rather than $100,000, and you can get that car that you really want. But now you're in a new city where you know no one, you're not planted in a church. Living as a believer becomes very difficult.
Yeah.
It becomes so much harder than when you are regularly planted and connected into a now, what are you paying the cost of? Maybe $100,000 a year salary. That might actually be where the rubber hits the road between the difference between faithfulness and not getting that car this life.
Yeah, and it's in the former that you're going to see the fruitfulness of your life is most likely going to flourish more in the former scenario than chasing.
And I know that there's an argument that's like, oh, Nate, you're a pastor, you don't get it. But I had a career before this that I gave up for this that could have taken me into all sorts of different levels of income and all sorts of stuff. But I paid a cost to know that I'll only ever be at a certain. It's not like being a pastor of a church. You're going to be on, crazy salary.
You're moving up the level.
There is a level of lifestyle that I've now made a choice that the chance of getting that lifestyle is gone. That was done when we chose
Yeah.
to be faithful to the call that God had put on our life.
Mm,
Now, the good news is we have eternity
absolutely.
in heaven,
Yeah.
which will be way better than any definition of successful life we can have here.
Mm, mm.
And so I pay that cost happily, sometimes begrudgingly, but like I'm not perfect.
Well,
There's some days where I'm like, you know what, I could be
really
doing that
nice.
for a whole lot more money and be driving that car and no one would have an issue with it because, but no, this is the cost we paid to be faithful. And therefore I believe we're being successful in the kingdom.
Yes. Faithfulness is
But this is not going to look
success.
successful out there. It's not going to look like.
I've seen that in the business world too.
Yeah.
So made decisions in our business that means that it costs us financially to be faithful to the vision that God has called us to the business, which is about people. And so we will choose people over big money.
Yep.
And that's a real business cost, but being faithful to what God has called in that space.
This is the difficult journey of discipleship is when you go, I'm going to run a kingdom business or I'm going to be in I'm going to be a kingdom teacher or I'm going to be whatever field of life you're in.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I'm not going to go for that promotion.
Yeah.
Even though that promotion would give me a better life.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm not going to go for that promotion because that promotion requires me to travel every weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Or work ridiculous hours that I can't
Yep.
be around friends and family or community and stuff like that.
I'm going to sacrifice getting the bigger house.
Mm. That's right. Or I'm going to downsize. Like I'm going to downsize and shift careers for, like, I guess in all of this, I think sometimes I wonder if we are willing to take these things to God in the first place. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
like
a good question.
we make these really big life decisions with career and finance and money and buying things or business and moving for that career. Do we take it to God do we submit it to him in the first place? Like, hey, God, do you want me to do this?
Well, I think submission's the key in that too. It's not also taking it to God and going, bless this. This is what I'm doing, God.
Bless this, yeah.
Bless it.
Yeah.
Make it work.
Yeah.
It's would you actually be willing to lay it down if he said, no, don't do it?
Yeah.
Would you hear a no if he said a no? Or have you already made up your mind?
Are you willing to hear a no? That's like, I won't say who this person was, but someone was telling me, I don't think I won't mention them. But God told them to sell their house and quit their job and buy they got like a family of 4 kids and go travel in like a bus home thing.
Wow.
And I was like, it was so inspirational because I'm like, whoa, like I don't know if I would want to hear that from God. Like, would I even be willing to hear God say that, let alone act on that?
Yeah.
I'd be like, get behind me, Satan. Like, God hasn't called me to that. But the reality is like, maybe God, everyone's got their different thing and the Holy Spirit's got his plan for everyone's life in that way. So I'm not saying that everyone has to go sell their house and live in a bus.
The cost is not prescriptive.
The cost is not prescriptive. Their cross is not your cross.
But this is like, we look on the outside, right? We look in on someone else's cost. Well, I can never do that. But you forget that they got there probably 1,000 little yeses.
It's lots of little yeses, isn't it? Yeah.
And so that final, like that yes they took, that you're now arriving at the end of 1,000 yeses going, you sold your house, quit your job and you did that? I would never do that.
Yeah.
But what you don't, because to you that looks like jumping off a cliff.
Yes.
But to them it was like 1,000 incremental
that's
steps
really good.
of because that's faithfulness, right? Like it's every little yes we say to Jesus along the way.
Yeah.
I didn't just quit my career and become a pastor.
Mm.
My yeses began 20 years ago.
Yep.
Even before that, before I had my time out of relationship with Jesus, out of church and all that. Back when I was like in the youth ministry in Anglican church, like little yeses. God, I give you my whole life.
Yep.
Little yeses. Little yeses.
I think that's really, I'm almost, is there something you wanted to say on that, Pastor Mel? Sorry.
No, I agree with that.
The little yeses.
I could label all the little yeses that
like
have
in your
landed,
life.
that have landed me
Yeah.
to be a pastor. I was never going to be a pastor either.
Yeah.
There's lots of little yeses and laying down along the path.
Mm. But even if you're not a pastor,
Yeah.
like
Whatever your
that's
thing is.
that's the life of a believer. It's
That's
lots
right.
of little yeses, and the cost is it's a no to the other thing. It's a no to the thing that you might prefer.
Yeah.
But I think that really helps people, like, instead of trying to focus on this big, large cost.
That's right.
To be faithful, I've got to do this huge cliff jump. No.
Oh, no.
Just what are the little guesses that God has
That's
in front of
actually
you right
reckless.
now? It's reckless.
I would say
Yeah.
that's reckless.
That's reckless. Yeah.
And sometimes trying to prove all right,
Yeah.
I can I'll do the big jump because it's going to prove to God that I'm
Showing everyone
super
that you've got great
spiritual.
faith.
And
Right?
sometimes I feel like like when I was a young guy, like a young Christian, there was levels of that, right? Where there was a zeal, like it was genuine zeal and passion for God. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this, and there's good stuff in that. Like I think in our naivety, if you're a young Christian, if you're a new believer, that's beautiful. I think God looks at that and goes, you're gonna learn. It's okay. Like I love your passion. Like it's okay. And
Totally.
I don't think it's necessarily all detrimental. But I think it's helpful for people to think of what's the little yeses
Yep.
right now, today,
Yep.
in the now moment, rather than just thinking of some huge thing. And that's going to lead to when, like I think of David facing Goliath, he had these little battles
Yeah.
right.
leading up to the
Yep.
fact, and he was ready for Goliath. Like it'd still be
Absolutely.
hard, but he had little battles on the way.
That's probably what's going to shift your mindset too in terms of redefining success. So we don't have to, like, the definition of success worldwide is so stuck in our minds.
Totally.
Like
Yeah.
you get saturated with it all the time. The journey of
Yeah, we're
Christianity
swimming in
is
the
trying
river of
to
it.
change that perception and mindset. All those little yeses are the little shifts, which bring you around to the, okay, now I get it. I'm trusting God because you're building trust with every little yes, and your mindset shifts. So when you get to those bigger ones also, you're coming at it from a different perspective.
Yes.
Every little yes is being successful in the kingdom.
Yeah.
Every time you say yes and follow through, God's like, well done, good
Awesome.
and faithful servant.
And and the whole point is it's upside down to culture
is.
of the world.
It
Like
is.
when you look at how Jesus ended his ministry, the disciple, it's the opposite of the definition
yep.
of success
Totally.
in the natural sense.
Yep.
And he's gone to the cross. Most of his followers have deserted him.
Yep.
There he is. Oh, what's this kingdom that he was meant to bring about? Little did everyone know that was the moment that changed the world forever.
That's right.
And
Yeah, because when you read Paul,
he was faithful.
right, and he's talking about what Christ did on the cross, it's like amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's seen it from the other end.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And so in the moment, I wonder if all the little yeses might not seem significant sometimes, but they are very significant if it's a yes that's yielded to the Spirit of God. Like you're probably not realizing the full impact. I mean, obviously Jesus realized what the full impact was, but in the spiritual sense, the fruitfulness that's going to come from that. Just to round out this episode, it's been a good chat. I feel like there's so much that we could say on a lot of this stuff. We can delve down a lot of different rabbit holes and stuff like that. But kind of like the last episode, leave someone with maybe one thought. I'm thinking of someone who they're obviously in that wrestle of trying to get that fresh revelation of changing their definition of what success is in their life.
Yeah.
What are some things that can help them? Because I think sometimes we get excited for that yes, but then we feel the pull of culture. Oh no, and we feel the tension and the pull. What can someone do in that struggle? To help themselves? I feel like it comes down to the same things a lot of the time, like prayer, scripture, being church, being community.
Like, is what you are about to do helping you to be with Jesus more, or be like Jesus more, or to do the things that Jesus did
It's really good.
I know we had Pastor Lars on a little while ago on the pod, and that's his definition for being a disciple, which I think I love. It's super simple. So, when you're making decisions about anything in life, is that decision helping you be with Jesus more? Or is it actually making it harder for you to be with Jesus? Is that decision helping you to be more like Jesus? A character thing, integrity, or or is it causing you to be actually operate in a character that is not like Jesus?
Yeah.
And is it helping you to be able to do the things that Jesus did and is still doing?
That's good. I think that's really helpful for people because
that's probably
it's a great grid or a filter to filter things through. I think that's great. It's really good.
Yeah, I'd probably also look at your heart and ask the question, is doing this going to make me feel more attached to that worldly success? Like, is this going to make me feel more attached to the need for money? Or is it going to make me feel more like loose-handed with it? Because if I'm pursuing that career or that house or that whatever it is, and then I'm going to become more entwined with the need for money or the need for that success or the accolades of people, I'm going to have to keep feeding that. Or is actually making this decision making me feel less? It doesn't actually matter what people think about me, or I'm actually feeling more generous. I don't have to hold as tight. Like the kingdom fruit one is, I actually feel more released of the things of the world. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're not tied down by the things of the world. You're free.
Which one are you picking? Are you picking to be more bound up by it or free? And choose the freedom one.
That's great.
It's going to be great in the long run.
Awesome,
Absolutely.
Mel. Great thought.
That's great. Thanks for the conversation. I think I just really believe this is going to really help someone. They're driving around.
Awesome.
They might not be driving around, but I felt like I just assume most people listen to podcasts driving around, and I just think it's going to be really encouraging and help them with something that's happening in their world right now. So I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure. Thanks, Pastor Mel, for being with us on the podcast again. And share this with someone that might benefit, and we'll see you in the next pod.
Right on.
Looking forward to it.